You see, my friend, that for what is too far, what is too far, we can use karma, action plus knowledge. I was having just a session, and this lady was saying that my friend calls me, and she is in a lot of trouble. Her husband has an affair with someone, and she every day calls me. I don't know what is the solution. I said, drop it. How simple it is. If you do not drop it, it will create a lot of impressions in your mind, and ultimately your mind will cause lot of problem in the body. Knowledge. So she is too far, she is not living with you, so you can, by understanding, by knowledge. Do you have the right solution? No, I don't have a solution. So I said, drop it. And ask her to talk to me. Do you see what I am saying? Understand that. This what makes the Shravan. What is too far from me. I apply Viveka and I do karma. So, what is that karma? I stop talking to her. Calmly, I will find a solution. Mind is constantly running outside. Pay attention. Mind is constantly running outside. When I wake up in the morning, mind says it is attached, it is totally obsessed with the objects of the world, people outside in the world. I apply the Viveka and I do the Nitya and the Naimitya karma. So there are two things now. Understand before we go further. Shravanam, two things. First is I am. Second is I am not. It is very easy for the intellect, for the mind, or ego, whatever you want to say, to see that you are different from me. Your house is different from me. Let me start the sadhana there. And my professional activities is different from me. See that. What I am not. I am 100% sure that the entire solar system is not me. The earth is not me. Five elements is not me. Clear? We don't have any problem. We don't have any problem. I am not. Huh? Let us see how you see how see the masters are bringing us to the knowledge. Then neighbor's house is not me. It is not I am not. We are very clear. We know our home address, and so we can come down. But now we are working daily. We are living with our kids in the relations. So there also we know they are our relations, but they are not me. Right? They are not me. They are not me. But what action I should take, what action I should take You see, my friend, I can take an action to keep myself away little distance by viveka, little distance. Oh, this guy is constantly gossiping, it creates problem, so I stop talking. Karma. I can do the nitya karma, I can do the naimitya karma, but when it comes to my body, five koshas, there is a mixture, there is an ignorance. Sometimes I say this is me, sometimes I say this is not me. I cannot remove my body from myself physically. The karma is ineffective. Only the knowledge can help me. Only the knowledge can help. See that? Knowledge plus karma, I don't want to talk to you. I will not come to your house. Knowledge plus karma. Huh? Because I realized that you create problem and that disturbs my mind. So I don't come to your house. Knowledge, karma plus knowledge. But when it comes to my body, my own mind, my own intellect, I cannot separate it. I cannot separate it. So hence I have to apply the knowledge. How to get that knowledge? Thought. Thought is a product of knowledge. So Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge. So I should start thinking, thinking, thinking. Thinking the way our masters are thinking. The way our masters are thinking. Do you see that? So when the masters are, the way the masters are thinking, what should I do? I should be aware. I should be alert. I should be attentive in all my activities of my life. What I speak, how I speak, what is the motivation before this speak. That gives me the right knowledge. Are you getting it? It's all Shravan. It's all about your awareness. Sun gives the light to the moon. Moon gives light to the world. There is a day and night in the world, but for the sun it is always light. We cannot say sun has a day and night. Do you see that? So sun is the real self. Now we are understanding. See, sun is the real self. In between comes the moon. Moon is the mind, and the mind sees the world outside. Mind sees the world. So there are two people seeing the world outside. One, the real self, the sun, and the other, the moon. Moon is the mind. The mind wakes up in the morning, we wake up in the morning, and then the mind says, I am the body, I am the mind. So I have my honey, and honey did not do the things rightly yesterday. Hence, now this I am not has become I am. I only have to know only. Knowledge is required. I cannot separate my mind, my head from myself. So here the viveka must take place in the head only. Viveka can take place outside by doing the karma. But inside, I cannot cut my head. I cannot remove my mind. You see? So there the karma is cannot be applied. Now I have hatred for my honey, for example, right? And I will do 3 hours of meditation for 10 years, nothing will happen. There only the knowledge will work. I have, for example, you have hatred for your honey. You are doing 3 hours of practice continuously for daily for 10 years, nothing will happen. Only the knowledge will work there to get rid of the hatred, to find the cause of the hatred, and ultimately you drop the hatred from the mind. I'm just differentiating where the knowledge really, where the only knowledge works and where the knowledge and the karma works. Here. Now see the other point. When the things in the world that I am not is too far, it is very easy to do the viveka. But when it is very close, it is very difficult to do the viveka. I am not and I am is mixed. So there only the knowledge will work. Knowledge comes by Shravanam, Satasangatve, Nesasangatvam, Nesasangatve, Nirmohatvam, Nirmohatve, Nishchal Tattvam, Nishchal Tattve, Jivan Mukti. Great Master Shankara says, Satasangatve, you are listening these principles again and again and again, and one day the knowledge hits in your mind. Done. Hatred is gone. Anxiety is gone. Duality is gone. Now I am only the sun. I am not the mind. And awakening takes place. Do you see that? Sun, moon, and the world take it again. That real self is neither the doer nor the enjoyer. I must keep in my mind. I must be aware. It is the mind, intellect, or the ego becomes the doer and the enjoyer. That is why we are doing the Nitya and the Naimitya karma. So that we can come in contact with the real self. Otherwise, I cannot know the real self. Here and now. Here and now. Who is listening? Mind. How the mind is listening? Because the real self supplies the consciousness to the mind, without which mind is just a matter. And this mind becomes the doer and the enjoyer. And again, we mixed up what I am with what I am not. Pure awareness, pure consciousness. So, one thing we should be there. So, we are doing a viveka insight by the knowledge, not by the practice. So, knowledge itself takes us to there to reach. So, you see that what I told in Gyan Yoga, we say that only the knowledge can help us remove the ignorance. So we use the two words aham, I am, idam, I am not. Idam means all I am not. So when the idam is too far, it is very easy. Solar system, Mars, mansion, your house, my house. Ah, idam is near like my country. I have little bit of association then. When I say idam is near my country, my state, my county, my home, I can still do the viveka and I can get rid of it. Then idam is very near my relations, my honey. Huh? So other honey causes the problem, no problem at all. My honey causes the problem, then there is a problem. Why? Now mixed up. I am not aware. I don't live my life in awareness and alertness with the right knowledge, so I get caught. And when the idam is nearer, when it comes that this five kosha, why we study five kosha? Five kosha plus mind is I am not, which I claim I am. I am not, but still I claim I am. Same thing. Sun, moon, I see the world. Sun, moon, the mind. Mind says, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am the worker, and I have achieved. Now see that what happens when we live into that, and then what happens? Our mind leaves the knowledge and it enters into problem. We say this karma is always defective. How come? I cannot lift 100 kilogram weight now. I used to lift it 30 years ago. I have a freedom to do the karma. I can lift it or should not lift it. Huh? At this age, I cannot do the jogging for 10 miles, which I used to do 30 years ago. So I have a freedom. I can do it, I cannot do it. Right? Karma is done by five kosha. It is idam. It is not ahem. It is not I am. Why to worry then? First point. So I should maintain my awareness all the time. Karma is not done by the real self. It is always done by the five kosha plus I. Mixed up. Mixed up. But we forget it. Then what happens? We become slave to karma. The moment you become slave to karma, then what happens? The mind is agitated. Mind is constantly thinking. It is like a spider creates a web and then gets caught into the same web. I am free. Real self is self existent. Self existent, self independent, all pervading. It is not the doer and the enjoyer. If the real self is the doer and the enjoyer, then my consciousness will change. Consciousness does not change. Right? So you see that outside we need to do the karma, no problem. But karma, nitya and the naimitya karma, no kamya karma. Now see another problem that comes with I am and I am not. I want to earn $1 million. That is the fruit of my karma. Example. I want to earn $1 million. That is the fruit of my karma. I become slave to the fruit of the karma. How come? See that. I forget how to live in peace and happiness in a home. And my mind starts thinking of creating a mansion which my neighbor has. But that home does not define me. Are you getting it? My home does not define me. I define home. I should be aware. I should be aware and alert whenever my mind defines me with reference to anything outside. I must become aware, and by the knowledge, I should drop that idea. What we are learning today, once we understand and separate ahem from idam. Ahem is I am, idam is I am not. How to separate through the knowledge in the mind, how to get that knowledge, follow the principles of Eastern wisdom. And I am thinking, my mind says, I will relax today at home. Now I have done everything. No, it does not depend on the home, it depends on me. I am not the slave of the home. My mind constantly puts me into ignorance. So, what we are learning, I am and I am not at every moment in my life. Are you understanding? Karma binds me also. No way the karma should bind me. I should not become slave to anything. Why? Eastern wisdom says that real self is self existent, self luminous. Luminous means sun does not need a candle to see it. That is the meaning of self luminous, right? But what I am not has become I am is causing the problem. Do you see that? What I am not becomes I am is causing the problem. Now, see that. Can I start living in awareness from today? What I am not becomes I am. How come? That I am says, I had a sound sleep, and that I am was not there. Which I am was not there? The false I am, created by the five kosha. But still, the real self was present. The real self was present. That is why I know after I wake up from a sleep, I had a sound sleep. Ahem and idam. Knowledge should come in between. Are you getting it? I am is always present. I am not, which claims I am, that is, means my mind, my intellect, my ego, huh, is not always present. How do you know? I lose my awareness while driving. I am not present. It is my ego. Both the things are working inside. Real self and the ego self. Both are inside. Both gives me the knowledge. Both gives me the knowledge. Both have ability of to have the consciousness. One is borrowed and other is self-existent. So when I say I lose awareness, it is the false I. It is not the real I. Why to worry? So the moment I see that I lose awareness, let me return to the awareness finished. Not no worries. Live just calm, calm, calm. I have achieved success in this. I have not achieved success. This is the false I with the five kosha. I'm the real self. Real self cannot be the doer and the enjoyer. So you are living into that knowledge. When you are living into that knowledge, what will happen? The mind will become totally calm. Why? Now, the mind is not facing to the world, mind is facing to the sun. The moon is facing to the sun. You need not even to think of to control the mind, to discipline the mind. It is already there. My master used to say that allow the shadow, allow the shadow to chase you. Do not chase the shadow. How that is possible? When you are facing to the sun, when you are moving to the sun, the shadow behind chases you. When you return, the mind is saying, this is I am, with the five kosha, with the doer and the enjoyer. Then what happens? You chase the shadow. You will never be in peace and happiness. Are you getting it? So now see the other part. What we are discussing today, understanding I am not. Both are inside. Both says that we are conscious, we know things, we know the problem. Mind says, I will solve all your problems to the real self. The real self says, I don't have any problem. I never had any problem. I will never have any problem. Can I simply become aware? Mind, hold on. You think. Mind, hold on. Hold on. I have no problem. You communicate with the real self. Let the mind communicate based on the principles. Do you see that? I have no problem at all. Real self says to the mind. See that? Listening Shravanam. Ahem. I am. Ahem. Real I am. It lives in awareness all the time, like a sun. There is no day and night. But for idam, false I, there is always a day and night. There are always changes. Can I become aware of that? Simple. Idam is nothing but mind, ego, intellect, memory, association of five koshas, world outside. I need to simply become aware. I should know it. So when I look at you without the interference of the mind, I see that we both are one. There is no name, there is no shape. That is the beginning of a Shravanam. Understand in a different way. You know verb. Verb means action. You cannot add any verb to the real self. When I ask you, are you listening? Yes, false self. Just become aware. Just awareness is required in that stage when we are a seeker. Do you see that? Do you see that? Yes, you continue to say yes, but at the same time, you are aware. Real self cannot be the verb. It cannot be the listener. It cannot be the enjoyer. It cannot be the doer. Why? It is awareness. What is the proof of it? The proof is here and now. Are you not aware of the background? Are you not aware of the sofa on which I'm sitting? Are you not aware of my beard, face, shirt, everything? Are you not aware of your home? Are you not aware of your shirt? Are you not aware of millions of the things at the same time? Yes, we are aware without doing anything. But when it comes that, yes, I'm listening to you, this is the false I. So we have to educate this false I. Do you see that? Here and now. You are aware of your home. You are aware of your computer. You are aware of your body. So that real self is ever present. I miss that. Why I miss that? Because my mind is facing opposite to the sun. It is facing to the world. Do you see that? It is here and now. It's not tomorrow. Tomorrow means karma. Karma can be done for the things that are too far from me. But to remove the ignorance with the five koshas, I have to use the knowledge. There, nothing can work. I give an example. I want to remove the hatred. Should I remove? Should I chant the mantra Om Namo Shiva? No, it will not work. Knowledge only will work. Do you see that? Knowledge only will work. Did I tell you I had a wonderful friend? He is attending my session. So he has a lot of depression. 2 hours he goes to the gym, does extreme physical activities, and throughout the day feels totally fatigued, sleepy. But he wants to continue because for 2 hours he's out of depression because his mind is engaged in the body. But in turn, the result is he gets more depressed. I said, would you like to apply knowledge? You claim that you are very intelligent. Apply that wisdom. Why you do it? Because I feel totally free from the depression. But you are getting a side effect. Balance it. Do it. I'm not saying don't do it. Now, what message it is? You are a doer. Doer is I am false I. It will not help you to remove the ignorance of the mind. Only knowledge. Only knowledge. So, what happened last week, he told me, you are not giving me a practice. You only give me the practice you have been talking. So, I realized his mind is still wants to do, wants to become the doer. It is required. Practice is required as long as the problem is outside. But if the problem is inside, I have to remove it by knowledge. But now his mind is moving outside. It means he wants to be a doer. So nitya and the namitya karma, lot of practices which will purify his mind. I have to do that. So we know them. We know the secret. Okay. I gave him the intensive practice last week. He was so happy. Such a good practice. But I'm okay. I'm also okay. What should I do? You see, we do the practice. We are doing nitya and the naimitya karma. We have to do it. We do the regular practice. Continue doing it. But remember, doer, enjoyer, feeler cannot remove the ignorance. It is only the knowledge. Knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. And knowledge of the Eastern wisdom by Shravanam, again and again, you become aware, you become aware. Ask, think, no. I was just telling yesterday, I don't feel like doing the practice. I said, you communicate to your mind. Do not stop there. I don't feel like doing the practice. Why, mind? Why you are feeling this? I'm not you. Let me do the practice and then I will find the reason. In that way, you continue. You give a befitting reply to the mind. That is what the Gyan Yoga is. Why? In real self, there is no feel like doing it. In real self, there is no feeling doing it. It is only the mind. I am not the mind. As I told you, I'm just aware, simultaneous awareness of so many things at the same time. Isn't it? But mind wants to pay attention to the listening. It is okay. Krishna says, Buddhi yukta jahatihi, ubhe sukrat dishkrate. Your awareness, attention, alertness is going for the real self. We know the qualities of the real self. Just now, it is here and now. Awareness alone. Yes, I am aware. Even though the mind is saying I am aware, but it is the real self. The real self, there is an awareness. Then the mind says, I am aware of your t-shirt, your background, huh, my body. It is the mind that is saying. But before that, there is only an awareness. It is a fact, it is a truth. To be into that awareness, purification of the mind is a must. Nitya and the Naimitya karma is a must. And dropping the fruits of an action is must. Krishna says this is what is yoga is skill in action. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. So karmashu means skill, ability. So from where that ability has come? Knowledge. So knowledge plus karma. Knowledge plus karma. So ask, think, know. Ask, think, know. So now look at it. Now to convert these first four principles into a knowledge. So called the knowledge practice. First is acquire the knowledge of the real self. What is real self? Self existent, self luminous, all pervading, never changing identity. Clear? We are reflecting on the first four principles. Are you listening? We are reflecting on the first four principles. So you see, we are reflecting on the first four principles. Knowledge only, no karma. What is that? First step is, do I know the real self? Its qualities? Yes. Real self is self-existent, pure consciousness, never changing, that helps me to know the world. That awareness, that pure consciousness. The moment I know your name and the form, your size, height, and the weight, it is known by my ego. Awareness first, sun first. Second level is the mind. The real self gives the light, the consciousness to the mind, and the mind then goes outside, whether you say mind, ego, aham, not aham, but idam. Right? That is the first principle. How simple it is to live in that knowledge 24/7. Only when we are a seeker. You see, that is why we have a second principle. Nitya and Naimitya karma, no kamya karma. Why kamya karma? Because I My mind engages itself in likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, seeking their fruits. It strengthens the false I, and I forget the real self. I do not face to the sun. I am facing to the world, so I am chasing the shadow. This also needs knowledge. First knowledge is clear inside. Let me do it. Honey, you are most wonderful. I'm performing my role. No likes and dislikes, so I keep the mind clean. Why? To maintain an awareness of the real self. Do you see that? Third principle. Goal of life is to evolve, to find the real self. If that is the goal, I, real self, is already here and now. Let me accept what comes, what goes. It does not mean I'm not doing work. I'm continuously doing all my activities. So, what happens? My mind tunes all its thought, feeling, and the sensations to the real self. A reference, a reference point. I will do it, I will benefit it. So, deeper inside, you say, mind, merge with the real self. So, what happens? You are getting a freedom from being the doer and the enjoyer. Someday, we commit mistakes. Mistakes are committed by the mind, the false side. The real self is neither the doer enjoyer, so problem of mistake doesn't arise in the real self. Do you see that? But it does not mean that every time I I abuse people and I say it is the real self is doing. That is why we have to become the seeker. Otherwise, the mind puts the wrong logic, and then we fall back into ignorance. Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see that? Then I recognize, oh mind, what are you doing? Binding? Anything that you are a doer, does it bind you? I'm not doing, drop it. Let me convert into unbinding. Convert into unbinding. Where? When? Here and now. Here and now. With the knowledge inside. Are you getting it? Here and now. It is the mind which caused the binding desire. Let me drop it. Let me drop it and do it with the unbinding feeling. Let me focus on the work. Say, for example, one example, it is not with you. You focus on the honey. Honey has a likes and dislikes. So you have attachment and detachment. He or she says something, and the mind is ready to fight. It is binding. Now, in the knowledge, you convert that into an unbinding instantly. Oh, that is the situation. It is the part of the world. Honey has come to my life to evolve me, to guide me to have a little more tolerance and compassion and love. So he or she is upset. You are calm. You allow the real self to move into the mind. You have separated ahem and idam. We are seeing the practical ways to be into that state. Real self, all pervading consciousness. Now, see, with reference to all the first four principles, mind minus real self, there is no world. So, play with your mind. Mind has been playing with you. The moment you lose your awareness, remember, mind There is no real self.
I didn't understand that.
There is no real self. So there is no world. Your mind is in stress. Stress will disappear. Your mind wants to fight. The fighting will stop. The mind wants to experience the pain. The pain will drop. You will be surprised. It is such a miracle. I am settled. This is what the Patanjali says. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Fourth, third sutra. When I empty the mind, my I am settled in my real self. It can happen here and now. In that field of awareness, instantly it happens. Now, see another point why we study and become a seeker by Anubandha Chatushtaya, the four connections, and also Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumuksha. Why? The real self does not undergo any modification because it is not the doer, it is not the enjoyer. But the ego, the false ego, the mind, and intellect always undergoes modifications. What is that modification? The moment it sees any object with the name and the form, it is modification. Mind behaves like that, mind becomes like that. Modification also means the mind is constantly changing. But if we do not have a viveka inside, I cannot separate. So I have to become a seeker. I have to live a life of a seeker. I have to live a life of a seeker. And to live a life of a seeker, I have to follow. The goal of life is very clear. Every time the mind says something, I will earn 10 million. Yes, I will definitely earn 10 million, but my goal of life is to be settled in the real self. Knowledge. Through the thought, I am creating a moving my mind to the knowledge. Shravanam. This is just the beginning. As we go deeper and deeper, it becomes clear. While listening, you are there. J. Krishnamurti says, please, I am not your teacher. So he is introducing the path of Shravanam. They all have to do same thing. Whether you say it or you don't say it. No, I'm only an observer. I'm only the knower. I am not your teacher. Come on, you are sharing a platform, you are a teacher. But to help people, that is also a way. That is also a way. I'm only your, I'm a speaker. Don't believe this speaker. So when you don't believe your speaker, it means you start thinking, whether it is right or not. So when you start thinking, then you enter into viveka. He doesn't talk of a viveka. He says choiceless awareness. So viveka means first choiceless awareness, then choose what is right. They're doing the same thing. So why shouldn't I stick to the tradition? Because it gives me a total liberty to explain the principle correctly. But even J. Krishnamurti, they are also the great teachers. No problem at all. No issue. It is their expression. You see that the mind continuously changes, modification, we say. The real self is only the knower, witness, illuminator. It illumines. The sun gives the light to the moon, and the same light goes to the world. That is how the mind knows the world. The real self does not have any modification. So I can translate that. Just I'm speaking. Pay attention to be a active listener. Remain as an observer. I'm not a teacher. I'm not changing you. I can use those creamy words that influences others, but the biggest harm is that I continue to maintain my ego. That is why not many people undergoes a transformation by listening to the J. Krishnamurti. They like creamy words, wonderful. They listen to it, but they understand as long as they study it, but after that it is totally gone. They do not undergo any transformation. Why? That will be our the most important point. Most important point. What is that? False I says, I am the doer and the enjoyer. Real self is not the doer enjoyer. Clear? The real self is neither the doer nor the enjoyer. It is not a verb. From where this knowledge comes? From the teachers. From the what knowledge of the physics you apply in creating your gadgets or your things. So the mind is the doer and the enjoyer. Clear? So mind has heard me today. And the same mind says, I am frustrated. I did not understand. So who owns the unhappiness? Your mind, not the real self.
Yeah.
Here and now, I need not to do any practice to know this that I'm still frustrated. Or I'm happy, I have understood it. Still, the mind owns the happiness. So, our master says never own, claim that you are unhappy, you are stressed, you are suffering. It is all a play of the mind, it is all a play of the false I. Don't simply own it, don't claim that you own it. Where? In the mind. You need not to claim that you are the owner of unhappiness. By thought. So thought gives you the knowledge, and that knowledge of the real self will shine in the mind. Do you see that? I own unhappiness. Now, unhappiness has many factors, and one of the factor is you are responsible for my unhappiness. Then the mind travels to you, and then it forgets. Lack of awareness. Do you know, understand? Avidya, Panchaklesha, Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh, Panchaklesha. It is just a play and a fun. Meditation is a just play and a fun. Do you see that? Do you see it here clearly? But what happens? Mind is living in ignorance, supported by our prarabdha karma. We lose awareness. We are carried away by modifications. Avidya works, then asmita claims, continues with the raga and dvesha, and then I am the body with the five kosha. I forgot the real self. Only knowledge is required. How can I remove my ignorance inside? I cannot replace this body. I cannot change this body. I cannot cut my any part of the body. I cannot perform any action. Action has to be done outside. So Viveka outside, Viveka inside. Viveka outside, followed by the practice, will help us. As long as the thing is separate from me. But if, because this false I causes this binding that I am the body. We will solve the problem. If I am not the body, then what happens? That comes into the next part of the Shravanam, not now. We are going step by step. We can have lot those questions. Every question is answered by these masters, all the Upanishad. So your mind is not allowed to go anywhere with the avidya, and with here and now you awaken yourself. That is all for today.